Hello everyone, welcome to this weekly update video for the 22nd of August. Hope you're all doing well. And this should be relatively brief. So the first thing, I just wanted to make a quick point to anyone who has GSX currently installed for P3D. Do not, under any circumstances, run the live updater or try and run any kind of GSX update. Basically, it got released for good old Microsoft Flight Simulator, and there was some issues on release with the installers. People have been having issues with getting it to run properly in MSFS. There is a kind of workaround, but what people have found is that installing it into MSFS actually broke it in P3D partially. So I would just recommend, if you have it installed already and it's working in P3D like I do, just don't run any live updates, just leave it alone. With regard to MSFS, people are also having crash to desktop issues with it. As of about Friday, there was a problem with the Asobo servers. We think it's probably something to do with the photogrammetry, perhaps live weather. People are having lots of crash to desktop. So if you are an MSFS user and you're visually impaired, which is highly unlikely, but if you are, then that is something that a lot of people are having a problem with, and it's not anything there's a fix for as of yet. Sim Update 10 also got delayed by a few weeks due to some ongoing issues with that, and concern that if it was released, people would have issues. Obviously, Asobo have now got to deal with this crash to desktop issue. Back in the slightly less faffy world of P3D and blind flight simulation, not too much has been going off. I did want to comment on the first officer situation. So there was a bit of a faff on, I think it was towards the end of last week, where one of our members, Josh, got an email from the first officer developer after he had sent an email to him. So there's a lot of cool features in the new First Officer Next, including a runway awareness system, new sounds for the pushback, a lot of cool little things. And Josh had asked if it would be possible to put these into First Officer Pro. The developer came back and said no, he wasn't focused on that, and that he was actually going to remove it from Sim Market shortly. And the community kind of went a bit wobbly and said, oh, God, what's going to happen here? Are we going to lose access to first officer? Because we do kind of need that. Just taking a drink. So what I will say is that a couple of things. Firstly, I believe you can get first officer keys to PayPal as well. And the developer will send you a key. So even if he removes it from Sim Market, I think it will still be possible for new people to buy it through PayPal. If the guy is not actively working on it, it may also be nice for him to just release the thing as freeware. But whether he'll do that, I don't know. It is a shame that he's not adding new features to First Officer Pro. I gotta say, because people still do use P3D. There are still planes in P3D that are not in Microsoft, and there are reasons why people can't use Microsoft, as is the case for the blind community at the moment. But I guess you got to see it from his perspective, and certainly I can understand him removing it from Sim Market. I guess he has to pay some kind of commission to keep it up there, and if people just aren't buying it, then what are you going to do? I think most people who were going to buy it for P3D have already purchased it, i.e. all of us and other people who used it in the P3D aircraft. Probably is not getting a lot of new sales because a new pilot realistically isn't going to start on P3D. They're going to go to Microsoft because there's more stuff out of the box. So that's understandable. It is a shame, but I hope he releases it as freeware or gives us a confirmation that we can still get it through PayPal. There was a lot of concern from people that their existing keys would not work. That just isn't the case. Your existing key is a unique first officer key that does not require online activation. That has been tested, as in, can you activate the product still offline? Yes, you can, because it's your key. I'll be totally honest with you. Even if the worst happened and the first officer guy said, I'm removing it, you can't buy it at all, and I'm not selling it, or I'm not putting it up as freeware, that's it. Even if that was the case, we would just share keys with new pilots. I'm going to be totally honest with you, because for us blind pilots, First Officer has been a great program, and it still is necessary. for several reasons. One, because we need it for the 747 and the 777 especially, because there's certain things in Talking Flight Monitor that aren't ready yet, so we can't access all the panels in those aircraft yet. But secondly, even in things like the 737, it's nice to have a first officer because it's just realistic. And if you're doing a busy vatsim flight, I don't think there's anything wrong with using one of those solutions like first officer or FS2 crew or whatever it may be. A lot of sighted simmers do it. You know, I've definitely heard it said that if you use it somehow, you know, it's kind of making you a lesser pilot. I don't think that's the case. I think especially as a blind pilot, there's a lot to do, a lot of tabbing around, finding windows with speech, and if you want a first officer to help you out with some of the functions in the aircraft, that's certainly fine. But we do still need it for the heavies especially, and it's going to stick around no matter what, so I wouldn't be concerned about that. I mean, First Officer Light, which is the one for the freeware aircraft in P through D, still works just fine for me despite not having an update for quite a while, so I really wouldn't be too concerned about it. We haven't yet got a weekly update from TFM. What I will say is that there's been some talk in the community about vatsim, and there's been some talk about using the vatsim data sources within TFM. That's something that one of the developers has looked into after a member of our community, Rob, found a really useful data source that has a lot of data for vatsim flights. As you all know, TFM, right now, the right bracket P function to see nearby aircraft is not very accurate in terms of especially the aircraft speed. But if data could be pulled from vatsim through TFM, then there's a lot of cool options there. And I know Rob is also working on functionality for iOS in terms of a vatsim application, but I won't go into too much detail about that, I don't think, because he's still very much under development. And for the community, and it's certainly not quite ready yet, so I don't want to kind of say it's going to do this and that because it's just not been finalized. But if you are in our community, you'll probably know Rob and know that he's a very talented guy, and it sounds like his application is really coming along really well. But I'll talk about that after checking with him and everything, and also make sure that everything's finalized in terms of functionality, probably at a later date. But there you go, that's mainly linked to TFM. There has been some discussion about using the vatsim data feed within TFM. Right, that's going to do it for this week. There was nothing else major that took place. Reminder that we do have a small BVI event on Sunday between we're going from Fort Lauderdale to Havana to San Juan on Sunday evening. So if you're in BVI virtual and you want to take part, feel free. It's not a big thing. It's pretty short notice. We just organised it, so it'll just be a very relaxed event, because the week after, on Saturday the 3rd, we have Cross the Land. I hope you were able to get a slot. If you were intending to get one, I was able to get one from Madrid to Qatar, Doha, whatever it's called. So yeah, that will be a pretty long flight. It will be fun. I don't know if I'm going to stream it because I'll probably be hanging out with the BVI members who are also taking part on this flight. But I'll definitely record it and probably upload it as a edited video, something like that. I got to say, I wasn't particularly pleased with the organisation from the Cross the Land team. Simply because they were supposed to release the slots on a Sunday, and then at the end of Sunday, after everyone had waited, they came and said actually there was an issue. They were released on Friday. That in itself wasn't such of a problem. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, well, you had a problem, so be it, these things happen. But the website, at least for me, was not very great. I mean, it was a massive 500 row table with all the slots, and there didn't seem to be any options to filter. Normally for Cross the Pond, you have combo boxes up at the top where you can filter okay, I want this departure airport, this arrival airport, search and show me all the available slots. Instead, it just seemed like a massive table, and you had to do a lot of scrolling to find the correct city pair that you wanted. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there was a filter somewhere, but it wasn't such a big deal. I was able to grab a slot, but it was a little bit annoying for screen reader users, for me anyway, maybe for sighted people as well. But nevertheless, I'm sure it'll be a good event. Hopefully we get some great ATC, usually always is on vatsim, so I'm sure it'll be a fun day out. And yeah, that's happening on the 3rd, so that is something you can look forward to, and you can probably still grab a slot as well. If you go to Across the Land's website, you'll be able to see what slots are still available. And remember to read the email they sent you if you got a slot, because you will need to confirm your booking near the time to make sure that you're still going to attend. So there you go. All right, thanks for watching.